Good morning. It is about 10 a.m. and I am coming to you from underneath a pretty big crabapple tree that is casting shade in this whole area. And I have been experimenting for the last 2 seasons on what can grow here in this shady spot. And I wanted to kind of document my progress and talk about what's worked and what hasn't, and maybe get some suggestions from anybody watching on what they've had success with in kind of a funky, shady spot. So it is 10 a.m. The lighting is a little funky, sorry about that. Like the very front of the garden is in full sun right now, and most of it's in the shade. But you know what, I'm in a chatty mood right now, so it just was the moment to make this video. The lighting's not perfect, and that's where we're at, but let's get into it. This is a chaos garden. There's my dog Winston. This is a chaos garden that is going towards cottage garden. That's what we'd really want, but I would say we're more on the chaotic side at the moment. So here is the crabapple tree that's casting the shade. You can see it's very tall, very mature, and we actually have trimmed off some of the limbs this year, so there's a little bit less shade than there was, but as you can see, it's still pretty shady. And just a note, if you're seeing this green privacy screen back here, that's not totally ideal. Like, I don't love it, and there's nothing wrong with the neighbor's yard right there. The reason we have it is for this one, because the neighbors, for some reason, like bunnies and neighborhood cats love to hang out in this yard over here. So he will run through this garden and trample it in order to bark at the neighbors. So when this is up, he just stays out of there so much better and leaves it alone. So we find that it's worth it to save the flowers, even if I don't love the look of it, but I'm kind of used to it at this point. I don't really mind it. So that's what that is. But let's take a look. Let's start over here, because this is the less exciting area. But so this is where I could use some advice to get the lay of the land. This is a crab tree. This is a cotoneaster and a chokecherry actually mixed in there. Probably a volunteer, I'm not sure. I didn't plant it. So it's getting shade in the morning, maybe a little bit of dappled sun, but in the afternoon we come through here and it is absolutely blasting with hot summer sun right through this area for maybe like 2-3 hours every afternoon. So as a result, this is kind of a trickier area, because it's not really full shade, but it also is probably not getting 4 hours of sun. So I've been experimenting for the last 2 years to try to figure out what's going to work in here. And I would love suggestions if you can think of anything that's worked in your yard in this type of a situation. I would love to put some more perennials in here, because I've realized that I've been testing out some annuals, and it's just too much space to fill in with annuals, and I need something that's going to come back and maybe just fill in a little bit with annuals for some color. So for example, this coleus, oh, this is nicely lit up at the moment. This coleus is doing pretty well, and I think from what I know, it's probably a pretty good plant for this situation, but I am not going to fill this whole thing with coleus every year, because I just refuse to spend that amount of money. But we have that, it's going pretty well. We have this one, it's true hyssop, which I started from seed. I can link the botanical interest seed here that I used. I do like it. The color is really pretty. Get it to focus. There, the color is really pretty. But I don't think I want more of this in here. I think 3 plants is plenty. So another thing that I found that works pretty well is this heuchera. I randomly planted these kind of all over, and I wouldn't mind adding a few more if I can find some like on sale at the end of the season. There's iris in here, somebody planted. I don't know if I should just dig this out because it's not thriving, as you can see. I should probably just get rid of it because I have a lot of other iris around. I planted some annuals in here, and I started them from seed, and I don't think that it is gonna work out that well. So this is Gomphrena, and I had actually bought Gomphrena like this at a plant sale last year and put in here, and it was great. So I'm like, oh, I'll start some more from seed, but I think because of the way the sun is in here, it's not getting enough sun to grow very fast. So this is how it's looking in mid-July. This is the first little tiny flower. I don't know, we'll see how it looks by the end of the season, but I think it might be better to just buy some of that to put in here, because I know it thrives. It did great last year. So I think it maybe doesn't work great to start it from seed because of the way the light is and stuff in here. So I actually planted some snapdragons right in here that I got. I think I might have got those for free at an end of summer sale, and we'll see how those do. They might be a pretty good option for this area, and I won't mind at all if they spread and come back next year. We've got some pansies, of course, one of my favorite flowers, and these are fairly new though. I also probably got these for free at the end of the year. This is a Dianthus that I started from seed. Kind of same deal as the Gomphrena. Like, it's pretty, and maybe, but we've got a couple more months till it freezes, and maybe this will grow a little bit more. But it's been in here for 6 weeks, and that's the size of it. So I just don't think that that's maybe a great option next year either. We have some white dill on me, which is pretty, but I don't know why, even when I have these in full sun, they seem to flop like that. So I don't love that, but it'll probably reseed itself, and if it comes back, that's fine with me. Ignore this. I have a lot of problem with creeping bellflower in here, and I just, I don't want to make everything perfect before I do a garden tour, because then I'll never do it. So we have to deal with that eventually. Here we have some calendula. This actually looks like that's gonna bloom soon, and that means it's probably gonna come back. Calendula grows so well here for us, so I'll probably have calendula in here for as long as I want it, so that'll kind of help fill it out. Also have alyssum in the front and some more pansies, which is fine. Alyssum's not really my favorite thing. I don't really feel like I need to grow that again necessarily. So we also have, this is kind of fun, this Dusty Miller. I like Dusty Miller because I didn't really realize what it was until I got married, and it was in my wedding bouquet, so it kind of always reminds me of that. It's kind of a special thing. Somehow this perennialized here for us and came back from last year, which is not supposed to do, so that was like a nice little miracle bonus. And then this is a big patch of just little Johnny jump ups I started from seed 2 years ago. Oh wait, look at this. Here's some Gomphrena that's actually has grown. I didn't even see that. So I might cut some of this back, but I honestly want this to seed everywhere. I love this, and it comes up so early in the spring, which if you're in a cold climate, you know how important it is to come up in the spring and like cheer you up after a long winter. So I'm kind of letting this grow and be wild and go to seed and just hopefully come back more and more and more every year. But I might have to cut back a little bit so I can enjoy this Gomphrena, because I didn't even see it in there. I love that color, it's incredible. This I think is a Clarkia. So I'll get more into this when we talk about the other side of the garden here. I kind of have a divider with my stone pathway here, where I treated the two sides of this little path differently. But to finish up on this side, we have some more coleus in here, which I'm loving. Those have actually grown quite well too, which is kind of cool. Some of them, they sit in here and they live in this environment, but they don't grow, whereas these have grown a lot. So that's good to know. I love the color too. I love the contrast with the green and the like burgundy. So those might make another appearance. And then I got this cutie little fuchsia tucked in here as a nice little surprise. It is thriving underneath these dogwoods. So these are the Arctic Fire dogwoods. The idea is that the stems will look really red in winter, so it'll give a little bit of winter interest. And we'll see how they do, because I know that they'll grow, obviously they're thriving in this shady spot, but I heard the stems will be more red if they're in more sun. So we'll see how they actually look this winter, but they've grown a lot. We just put them in last fall. And then here is a columbine. I don't think this one really bloomed very much last year, so it probably needs another year to really start thriving. So that's kind of the main events here in this bed. And this is the one that really gets blasted by sun. He loves to walk through here, and I really don't want to put up a fence. We have enough fences in our garden. I don't want to fence every single bed. So let's take a look at the other side. So now we're moving over to the right-hand side of my little path, which I kind of treat as a different bed altogether. Before we get into each individual plant, I just want to say part of the reason that this looks wild and chaotic as it does is because I took a couple of seed packets. It's a shady mix from Botanical Interests, and I just scattered them everywhere in the spring. And so there's a lot of things in here. I haven't looked up like what their name is, and I'm not sure how well it's doing, but it was an experiment, because as I said, this whole area is like, I'm unsure what's going to grow here. So I can definitely admit if I don't know what something is, but I'll tell you the things that I do know and love in here. I think this is Clarkia, which came from that seed packet. So that's pretty cool. It looks great. So if that was going to grow in here, that'll be fun. I'll see. I think it's going to bloom, so we'll see what it looks like. And then we've got more pansies in here. I had started some from seed that kind of failed. I had like one plant of each of these types. I put my little name tag in there to remember. I'm definitely going to try and start more of these from seed next year. I think I know what I did wrong. I think they got too much water. So this is kind of a funky mix of stuff. This is mostly the chaos stuff in here that came from that seed mix. So it's pretty fun though. I mean, it's been fun to just be surprised. Like I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to put in this front area in front of these impatiens, and I was like surprised that this started filling in with all these little tiny flowers. So that's been fun. But this is probably my favorite thing I've done this year. I'll link the seed mix. I started these from seed. These are impatiens. I think they're called like Tiny Tim. And oh, they look so pretty blowing in the wind right now. They've been blooming. They're so bright in this dark area. And they were easy to grow from seed. And I just love them. I love the size. I love the color. I love the shape. I'm just, it's just so satisfying when you lovingly start something from seed and then it turns out beautiful. Other reason I really like these impatiens is because back in here is almost kind of like a hole, because I have a really dense area of bulbs in there for spring bulbs. And so I don't want to plant a lot over top of it and like displace them or kill them. So the height of these impatiens, it really like hides that. So I don't feel like I need to plant something. Oh my gosh, the dogs are howling. Hold on. Really? Do we need to be doing all of that? I didn't think so. Okay, so we have a couple of big columbines in here that I love, that are perennial and are filling this in nicely. So that could be another option to add more of those. Boy, oh boy, thank you so much. This is just what I needed, Gus. Okay, so I think enough about the impatiens, but I just love them. They're so pretty. And then this other wonderful surprise, I think these poppies must have been in that shady mix or in some kind of mix I threw in here. And I didn't think poppies would grow in here because it's so shady, but clearly they do, and they're thriving and they're so pretty. We had a lot of visitors in the last few weeks and everybody's drawn to these poppies. So I'm definitely also letting these go to seed so that they'll come, like reseed themselves and come back and volunteer. They're just so striking and so pretty. Let's see, kind of more of the same, a lot more pansies. I love how the pansies will grow here even in the summer. Like if we've had almost 100-degree days and they're still growing because they're in the shade. I mean, look at these. These are in the sun now, but they'll be back in the shade soon, and they are just thriving. So I love, pansies are one of my favorites, and I can keep them growing all summer in the shady spot. So the funny thing, you guys are probably gonna think I'm weird for worrying about the shady spot, considering this is how these volunteer sunflowers are growing. Like when I saw these starting, that one's lost its petals, but when I saw that these were coming up, I left them because I thought, surely, what are these gonna do? And apparently they're thriving. So I'm not sure, like I didn't know that they could grow in the shade, but God bless them. So I suppose those will reseed themselves too, potentially, and come back every year. So got some more heucheras in here, kind of sneaking in. Oh boy, we have some weeds I need to pull out. So this is the problem with chaos gardening, is that you don't notice things like this. I think this is called salsify, and kind of hides with all the flowers in this chaotic area. So I'll take care of those soon. Here's an astilbe, and that is going to become more colorful here shortly. It's pretty fun to see that because I planted it bare root last year, and this is the first time it's going to bloom. There's more astilbe underneath that dogwood. And I guess we're almost to the end of this tour. We've got more columbine here, and then we have, oh, here's another poppy that's coming. Probably gonna bloom, so that's fun. But I wanted to show there is a nice big bleeding heart, which is done blooming for the year. I planted it last year and it has grown so much. So I am thinking this could be a good solution to add one of these to the other side, on the other side of my little stone walkway over there. That might help fill that in. Oh gosh, let me show you a close-up of the weed again. Underneath, in the spring, in like April, I planted these really pretty begonias. They were just like a little 6-pack from the garden center. And the color, the pink color of the begonias looked so pretty when the bleeding heart was in bloom. So I'm very happy about that, and I would love to do that again in the future. So just note to self that that was successful. Then we have cosmos growing in here too. Those are also supposed to be full sun, but they seem to be growing like fairly well. So I don't know what to think of this area, honestly. Oh, here's a columbine. One little flower kind of hanging on. Let's show you how this was. I can deadhead the rest of these, but isn't that so pretty? I just love columbine, and I'm so happy to have an area they can grow. So, oh, and then there's another sunflower, and that's even more in the shade. So I don't even know how these things work. So as I was saying, this area right here is where I have a whole bunch of like spring bulbs. And so I'm kind of just leaving those alone. And I love that I've gotten some taller stuff to grow, so it doesn't look like a big empty spot there. Oh, and then last thing, if you've noticed these are alliums, also bulbs. And I think I got a pack of 100, and I just kind of planted them all over. I really like them, but now that they're blooming, but I didn't really like them when they were first coming up. Without the bloom, they just look like this scraggly like stem coming out of the ground. So I think if I were to do it again, I would plant them more in a cluster, so that, because they look kind of cool now, like interspersed throughout with these little puff balls, but like I really did not care for them like a month ago. So anyway, I'm not going to dig them all up or anything, but in the future I would plant those in a clump. Well, I think I've shown you the highlights and the lowlights of my funky, shady, chaotic cottage garden. So like and subscribe in order to see any updates, to see some more things when they bloom. I would love to hear your thoughts too in the comments on like if you have experience on an area like this and what you've been able to grow. As I was talking through it all, I was like, is this really a shade garden? I mean, we have sunflowers growing in here. I don't know what to make of it, but I'm having fun experimenting and enjoying the chaos until I kind of figure out what works. So everyone have a great day and enjoy your gardens and embrace the chaos.